Problem, if you can't be helped, I'm not gonna sit there and say, oh yeah, I can help you, no. I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be direct. And I also think that this position requires a servant's heart, I really do. And I do believe that I have that heart. I pastored Cheetah Creek Indian Baptist Church for 12 years over in Korea. So I do know what it's like to serve people, I do. Most of my educational background is I hold a master's degree in management from Southern Nazarene University, but I worked for our tribe for 24 years. I spent 2 years in housing, spent 2 years in tribal administration, but I spent the majority of my time, 20 years in health. And 18 of those I spent running health clinics, from Eufaula to Okima to Coweta to Muskogee. So I have seen what it's like on that employee side. I know how those operations work. I know how they function. And I think that's the experience that I bring to it, that I can see. Being an administrator for 18 years, I've gone through 18 budget cycles. So I know exactly what that is like. And I think that another big platform of mine will be education. Currently, I work for Wes Watkins Career Tech down in Wetumpka. And one of my functions there is I'm a rural economic developer for them. So I go out and I help these communities to be able to find things that they can bring into their towns to help promote jobs and things of that nature. But I also see how the career tech system can help our Creek people. I really do. Some of the programs that are offered, not only at West Watkins, but at Green Country here in Tulsa, some of those programs can help our Creek citizens find employment. And I think not only do we need to focus on the traditional higher education piece, but we also need to focus on that. We need to focus on putting our Creek people to work, and that is a great avenue to do that. So, but as I said, I think I'm running for the right reasons. I'm running for the people. So if you have any questions, any comments, come see me. I've got my information's over there, and I would appreciate your vote on September 21st. Remember Bert Robinson. Righto.
Thank you, Tulsa community, for having us here today. As you said, my name is Grover Wynn. I'm running for Old Bogey, Seat District A. I'm married to Melody Hooten, and I have my 2 daughters and my granddaughter here with me today. My tribal town is Casita, and I'm a member of the Bear Clan. I'm also a retired business person, owner, 45 years experience. I was a veteran United States Air Force for 7 years. I'm an ordained minister. I was a pastor, former pastor of Wainwright Community Church, co-founder of Ministries for the Gospel evangelistic group. But what I bring to the table here, I believe, is the experience as being a 45 years of experience in business. And I say that to say this because I really feel like we hear about diversity, we hear about economic development, we hear about business development. And I think it's really important for our tribe that we move forward with it. But I just didn't decide July 15, 2019 to do this. For the last 4.5 years, I have been attending most of the council meetings, the HEW, the LNC, and the BFJ committee, so I could find out what's going on with the tribe. Also, so I would be able to answer questions when citizens come up with citizens. For the last 6 years, I've been visiting our churches, I've been visiting our hospitals, our nursing homes, our citizens, whether it be in homes or whether it be on the street. I've talked with our elders, I've talked with our veterans, I've talked with our youth to see what our problems are. And as I say, I heard about being a servant, and I think being a servant is very important because we get away from the fact that as council people, we are answerable to you. You are our customers. I believe also that in serving, that you should come first. But back to my experience, 45 years of business experience. As a business owner, I'm a problem solver. When I come to the table, I just don't bring a problem, I bring a solution. Also, as a business owner, you have to be a problem solver to be successful. In all these years in business, I've done startups, I've worked with existing business, so there in itself is a summary of what I feel is we need to move forward. as we go forward with our enterprises, we go forward with whatever it needs. I feel like as we reach out to our out-of-boundary citizens, we're going to have finances to be able to do that. As I said earlier, we had a problem with River Spirits here some time back. It was shut down for a month. What had happened? What would have happened if it had been a fire or a disaster or a tornado? What would we have done then? We need more diversity. As a veteran, I serve the United States Air Force. As a father and a husband, I serve my family. As a minister, I served as a pastor of a church. And now I want to serve the citizens of Creek Nation. I think in visiting also in the last 6 years, the last 4.5 to 6 years, I've made trips to the different offices so I can learn policies and so I'd be able to answer questions. One of the things that come up 3.5 years ago, I've been working with the administration to get a veteran cemetery. The veteran cemetery has been approved by the VA. We're on the verge of announcing it. There's also going to be a tribal cemetery, but that's the efforts. And somebody said, these dreams you have, you're only one person. We are just one person. It takes 15 others to do this, but I believe it takes one person to start a dream. It takes one person to begin, and it takes one person to step out and do things. Thank you very much. Again, my name's Grover Wynn. September 1st, I appreciate your vote. May God bless you.
Okay, first of all, I want to tell you this is not a skirt. It's a skirt. It's short. So those of you that were razzing me when I walked in, I promise it's shorts. My name is Carmen Tecumseh Williams, and I am from the Muskogee district. I have 27 years of experience in human services. I was born and raised in the Muskogee district. My mom, my mother's the late Elsie Tecumseh. My father is the late Nero Tecumseh. My grandparents are the late Suki Susie Lowe. I'm not sure, she's been gone for a long while. My other maternal grandparents are the late G.W. or George Wesley Harjo and Cora Davis Harjo from Sasakwa, Oklahoma. And my other grandparents are on my dad's side, which is my bonus dad, Simeon Lee. And my grandfather was Solomon Lee and Alice Grayson Lee. And my other paternal grandparents are the late Israel Tecumseh and the late Y.C. Scott Tecumseh. So there's the history of that. Our grounds are down at New Tulsa. My home church is at Silver Spring Baptist Church out of Henrietta. And I'm currently a member at Native Stone. I was going to say Solid Rock. I've never even gone to church there. At Native Stone over by Sapulpa. I currently serve as the Tribal Affairs Liaison for the state of Oklahoma, the Department of Human Services. And that's what I've done for all of my career is been involved in the Human Services Department. I have formerly served as an Muskogee National Council representative back in 2008 through 2010. That's when we were still doing the 2-year services. So I am experienced in understanding what it means to be a council representative. I understand what it means to be proactive for our people, to make sure that legislation is introduced and written. I understand what it means to advocate for our people and to continue to advocate for them. Right now, there are a lot of things that we could talk about in economic development, and I am a believer in our economic development, and I will make sure that, one, I leave it to the experts that know that, because I'm not going to tell you that I know everything, because I don't. Now, when it comes to the finance part of it, but what I am going to tell you is that I am going to advocate for you because there are needs. I currently work and do a lot of making sure that I understand what changes are being made in regards to state policy, federal policies, making sure that tribes are brought to the table, especially our tribe as Muskogee Creeks. And that's with our children and family services, that's with our adult protection services, our veterans, our child support. So I deal with so many different agencies throughout the state. And I want you to know is that I will be an advocate for you. I understand what it means to have that need. I come from a family, single parent also family, and I understand that need that we all have. We need to be protecting our families and our children and our vulnerable adults. And I will advocate for making sure that funding is made available, making sure that we are appropriately handling our finances, that we can fund those programs that directly serve our people. In so much as that we also serve our at-large people, not just those that are just here in Oklahoma, but all of our people, because they deserve just as many services as we provide for those that are here. And that means being diligent with making sure that we have those finances to help support and provide those services. I would appreciate your support and your vote on September 21st. And again, my name is Carmen Tecumseh Williams. Thank you.
William Lowe.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Will Lowe. I'm originally from Eufaula, Oklahoma. I see a lot of Eufaula folks in here, so those of you from Eufaula, I'm Willie Lowe. I'm only 125 pounds heavier. So I grew up, had the little chili bow haircut all the way until probably 11th grade. We all, know those haircuts, but nevertheless, I am a candidate for the Muskogee district. A little bit about myself. I grew up in Eufaula. I'm a proud alumni of the Eufaula boarding school. So any of fellow dormies, this is for you all. I mean, had to grow up there. Mr. Colbert was mean to me just like he was mean to y'all. So same with Mr. Walker. So I tell all the kids when I get back to Eufaula that's in that boarding school, you can do it. You just put your mind to it. Nobody's going to give it to you. You go out and do it. So when I graduated from Eufaula, I went into the Marine Corps for 9 years. I served my time as an infantryman. I got to see the world. I would never have thought, being from Eufaula, that I would be in Paris and London, and I knew I'd be in Saudi Arabia because of the news, but nevertheless, I got an opportunity to touch and feel and use my senses there. So that got me into the background of tourism. So I was able to get certified as a tourism director, and it's actually a certified tourism industry specialist is one of my many credentials. But nevertheless, when I served my country, I came back and I raised a daughter since she was 3 months old. My wife Elsa is here. Thank you for your support and everything you do for me and our family. I'm a father of 3 daughters. My oldest daughter, she's 21. She's an Army intelligence person. It's great to see her follow, not necessarily mine. I would tell her to go in the Marine Corps, but she chose the Army. But to be in intelligence and to be serving our country that way, she and I have great conversations, and I tell her, do it. You're in there, don't forget about your degrees. I wish I had that mentor when I was in the service. I would have went to school because there was so much opportunity. So when I got out of the Marine Corps, I came home and I had nowhere to go. My granny's house in the fall was so full, me and my daughter couldn't live there. So I come here, I go straight to the complex, and I asked my tribe for a job. I asked our tribe for a job. And they said, Willie, until you get degrees, we don't have a job for you. And to look down at my daughter was 3. To look down and tell her, she said, Daddy, what's that mean? Well, baby, we ran into a brick wall here. We can't, there's nothing for us here. I drive to Telequa, and the Cherokees gave me a job that afternoon. So it's those things that I want to advocate, not only for veterans, but all of our citizens, that I'm here for you. My background, I have an associate's and a bachelor's degree from Bacone College. In 3 weeks, I'll have a master's degree, an MBA from Grand Canyon University. I will help business-wise. I know it was mentioned about River Spirit being underwater and the panic, but we need to diversify our businesses. The other thing is, a council rep, I will work diligently with my fellow council representatives, and I will work with the executive branch to make sure that when it's time to choose the cabinet members, that we choose somebody that's going to have a great environment for our employees. It's not so much that our services are poor, I think it's the customer service that's represented to us. And if we give them a happy place to work, they'll be happy employees, and they'll want to give the citizens what they need and return phone calls. I'm here applying for a job for you all as a council representative. Come September 21, vote for me. Vote Will Lowe. Thank you.
I'm from Muskogee, Oklahoma. My parents are the late Fred Jones, and my mom's still alive. Her name is Sandra. My grandparents are the late Walter Jones and the late Mary Jane Yehola. I've lived in Muskogee for 45 years. I've worked for A&B Distributing out of Muskogee for 19 years. I was employed by Coca-Cola for 5 years prior to that. I've been in the servicing business for the last 24 years. I come to you today asking for your vote because I am the citizen that gets the medicine from the tribe. I am the citizen that my kids get the money for their clothes. And the thing is that I want to do for my tribe. I have waited till the last minute because I was scared. But sitting on the sidelines ain't gonna do none of us no good. And the thing is this is my first time, scared to death, but you know what? All these people here have been good to me. Every time I come in, they're encouraging and they're helping me out. Probably can't tell it in my voice. But it's a scary thing because you go into these forums, you go everywhere, and all you hear is negative. But the thing we need to be is positive. When you see a Creek citizen, you need to stand up for them. You need to say, I'll help you. And that's what I'm here to do. On September 21st, that's what I asked for is your vote. I thank you very much.
Patrick Moore. Patrick Moore. Hold on.
I'm glad you picked engine time. 4 minutes fits right in, doesn't it? If I run over, I apologize to everyone. I haven't been in this building for probably 8 years, I don't think. I used to come up here regularly whenever I was working for the tribe as a district judge. I was district judge for the Creek Nation for 25 years. I was appointed by 4 different principal chiefs. That's not what I'm here to talk to you about today. They told me I've got to tell you some things and I'm going to relate them. My great-grandfather was Miko of Casita. I still own my grandfather's allotment south of Morris, plus some other lands. My father started a law firm in Muskogee, Oklahoma in 1947. I'm the principal of that law firm today. I did my entire education process through high school in Muskogee County. I then went away to college at OU. I was away at OU and in the Air Force and at the Oklahoma City University. And then I came back home to practice law with my father. I have a bachelor's of accounting from the University of Oklahoma. I have a doctorate of law from Oklahoma City University. And after I came back to Muskogee, I got interested in tribal business when Perry Beaver hired us to come out and try to protect his slot as second chief that was under attack. That was in 1983. In the mid-90s, I decided I needed to know more about what Indian law really is. A professor at Tulsa University had written a book on federal Indian gaming law, so I enrolled in the master's program for lawyers, which is an LLM. I graduated with that degree in 2002. Went back to Muskogee. My law office is catty corner from the council house. And lo and behold, the dean of Tulsa Law School came to me and wanted me to come back up there and teach. So for 10 years I taught tribal government. Now, my concerns today are this. Whoops. I know you guys read the newspaper. You see what this says at the top of the Tulsa World? I think this may be today's article. Everybody read that? Can't read it. It's white man taking Indian money. That's what it says. 500 years ago, they landed on the shores in Georgia And the Creeks no longer have Georgia, do they? When they moved them out of Georgia, they promised them Indian territory forever. Do you have Indian territory now? They allotted the land after oil was discovered, and they took your oil. Now, I'm a member of the United States Supreme Court's bar. I'm the only lawyer in the Creek Nation that has that credential. And I'm sick and tired of every time some state government or city government wants money, they come and try to take it from the tribes who are prosperous. The River Spirit Casino sits right here in Tulsa County. When I had a lawsuit, how many people were here in 1987? Anybody else? Remember the lawsuit between Creek Nation and Indian Country USA? I handled that lawsuit as a district judge. In that lawsuit, I created the permanent fund. You remember that, don't you? I thought this is going to be over in 90 days. 7 years later, we were still in that lawsuit because they went to federal court all over the world, came back, the federal judge up in Denver said Judge Moore has that jurisdiction. I got to finish. And when I got through with the lawsuit, there was $7.5 million in the permanent fund. I converted it over to the controller's office, and you know how much money is in it today? How much? There's $400 million in it. That's how they build the casinos. Without that nest egg today, Creek Nation, we'd probably be sitting out here around the campfire. If you like what I said and want to hire me, I'm not running against anybody. I'm just offering my services. Pick up a red pencil over here in front of my sign, and on the 21st, use it to mark my name. Thank you.
Okay, Laura from Muskogee District. Laura Harjo King.
Good afternoon, and I apologize for being late. We were doing a fundraiser, meat pies for sale. So I walk in, I didn't bring any, I'm so sorry. My driver was late, so somebody had to use my car to go make a delivery, which had my shoes and my campaign stuff. And so anyway, that's why I'm late. And I was telling Brian, I said, do I smell like meat pies? So, but anyways, thank you for having us here today. And I am Laura Harjo King, and I'm running for the Muskogee District. My parents are Josh Harjo and the late Ramona Wilson Harjo. I'm half Creek and half Choctaw. I'm Turtle Clan from my mom, but I'm daughter of the Wind Clan. My parents were missionaries, and my dad still preaches and goes around and works us all like we're just young teens. But, you know, that's where I get my work ethic from. He did not allow us to just sit around like we do our grandkids now and play on games and the phone and all of that. He was like, get outside, you know, and he never said, I'm bored, because then he'd find you something to do. So that's kind of my background. I'm a member of Muskogee Indian Baptist Church in Muskogee. It's just a new church. And I remember hearing when they started that church, why in the world do we need another church in Muskogee? Well, it's not like, I mean, we all have a circle of influence. We're going to reach certain people. And then there's some that we're not going to reach. That's where our teammates come in, the rest of the council. We all have different perspectives and different backgrounds. We all have different passions. My passion is accountability. I'm an accountant over at the UKB, and I just think it's very important when I hear citizens talking about nobody at Creek Nation will answer their phone. But I'm also been on the other side where we did answer our phones and weren't able to help or whatever, And that was one thing I always told my staff was, you have a job because of the citizens. Don't forget that. When you start griping about this or that, be glad that you have a job and that you're able to help. And so I have a passion for accountability. I'm not nervous. I don't know why my voice is shaking. I think it's still the adrenaline of all the fundraising this morning. But I always run out of time. Some of the things that I've done, I worked for Creek Nation in the Department of Housing. I worked for the Office of Child Care when it was just a subsidy program. Now you see there's child care development centers all over the Creek Nation. I was in on that I'm proud of. Our children and our elders deserve so much better than they get. We need to focus on our families. One guy said, how come everybody comes out of your office crying? Because I talk to them and I want to get to the root of the program, or root of the problem. What is affecting you? How can I help you? What led you to be in this situation? So that's, I'm Laura Harjo King, Muskogee District. Remember me on September 21st. Thanks.
Okay, everybody's had their chance to speak and introduce themselves. And so now we will take questions.
For a specific representative, specific candidate.
Anybody? Oh, back here. And let us know who the question's for.
This question is for Ms. Brown. Ms. Brown, we acknowledge itself, of course, that there were a lot of council members itself, of course, who did not attend their council meetings, their council, of their community meetings, let's put it that way, not the council meeting, but their community meetings. Can you tell us how important that is and why?
Yes, that's very important. That's one of the reasons we are here. We are supposed to be here to represent our citizens of the communities. And when you do not be visible or accountability to your community members, or making the meetings, or being being there for them when they have questions, when they have problems, it's very important. And I've heard and it could be, the word of mouth. I don't have to be there. Yes, you do. If that's what you wanted the votes for, you have to be accountable to be there to represent your citizen. I would never say that is not my job. I would be there for you if you call, but I heard that come out. Said, no, that's not my job. I don't know. Ask them or go to them. Everybody should know what the right hand is doing with the left hand. Every council member should know what the other person is doing and what they are talking about and what has went around the table. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
And who's the question?
This question is for Bert Robinson. He knew I was going to pick on him. Bert, I know you had a lot of experience in health. What are some of the things that you feel we can do to improve our healthcare system within the Creek Nation?
Probably really don't need this thing. Mr. Coleman, as you know, I ran health clinics for 18 years. I ran the hospital at Okina. was on the ground floor of the new clinic in Coweta, was instrumental in getting the new Eufaula clinic. And I think a lot of it is we need to be able to treat our citizens better. It's all about service, is what it's about. You know, like I said, it's about service and it's about accountability. It's like when I used to tell my employees, I said, if someone leaves you a message, you return a phone call. It's as simple as that. You know, don't let it sit there. You know, I think now that I've been out of it for a couple of years, I think they see it as just, they don't see those people as someone that they're there to serve. And I think we need to get that servant mentality back to where we need to understand that, you know what, that the employees are there to serve the people. That's why they're there. You know, I think there's ways that we can improve access. You know, first of all, we need to make sure that we're hiring the best qualified people for the job. That's what we need to make sure of. We need to make sure that we are going out and doing everything possible for these patients. Like I said, I have been on that end, you know, and I see things how they can improve. And the main thing to me is access and service. You know, we've got to get better at that. So, thank you.
Thank you. And my question is going to be for Mr. Higgs.
Which one?
Randall Higgs. Haven't served on our national council for what, 4 terms or more?
4 years.
4 years.
I have that one turned off, on top of it. Right on the top.
Haven't served our national council for 4 years, and this is still going to go back to our future leadership. What do you think that we can do better, or what we need to do as Creek citizens to drive that home to our chief or whoever's electing this, that our youth and its development is really critical? And to me, we've got a lot of lands that we're not using right now. What can we do to enhance that, to give these youth access to their culture, their language, their history, which some of them may not know because they've lost that? How do we give them that access and give them that cultural identity we keep talking about, but where's the real solution so that it reaches all of our children and not just a select few? Do you think that can be developed through the communities, or do we develop that as a tribal entity?
Good question. I believe that we can do that and we should do it because cultural is very, very important. That is who we are as a nation. And whether it be through departments that go out and do this, we do have a lot of land that we can utilize. And it should be. Should it be council to write legislation and make them do that? That's an option. We can do that. But I feel like we have the departments already there that should be out there doing this. You heard people about accountability. And earlier you heard me make the comment, there's 3